for reasons unbeknownst to me, the internet completely dropped. We got disconnected. The beauties and challenges of living in this digital age is the fact that we are all connected as one through the might that is the internet, and sometimes it doesn't always go your way. So welcome back, Professor. I'm glad to have you and on the show, and glad to reconnect.
Yes, and as I usually refer to these kind of moments, that technologies are never perfect. And why? Why they are never perfect? Because they are built by people, and people build things the way they can comprehend and the way they can understand and the way they do their best. And we have like the best capabilities of this century, but still, this is the result we produce. And obviously, there are some rooms for improvement.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I've noticed too that the more fickle a technology, the more that technology tends to break, the more that you tend to, or humans tend to appropriate identities to the thing. So so if a car always breaks, then I can go, oh, she's always that way. That girl always breaks on me. Or, so I've noticed that to err is to be human, and to err is to also apply human qualities to technology. And I very rarely, sometimes I get really frustrated, and it's most always either with people, myself, or somehow technology. So I've noticed that type of pattern. And with that in mind, picking back up, because we will be sandwiching this together with the disconnected part of the podcast that we had. We were talking about cognitive dissonance. We were talking about connecting and really being honest with yourself, with understanding what you really want. And you were explaining before about that. And we were going to be shuffling or progressing from individuals to organizations and to larger communities like cities. And so with any of that being said, do you want to kind of pick up where you took off last as we were talking about this?
Yes, there is a very important detail in this experience of honesty with yourself. Again, the understanding of what means to be honest, fully honest, like fully, completely, wholly honest with yourself, and not yourself as your ego, not your identity that you maintain by your conscious part of the brain, but everything of you, and pretty much this whole trillions of cells of the biology that is actually making you perceive the world. So therefore, the honesty is not about like you consciously thinking, okay, this is what I say to myself, and this is what I have a conversation in my mind, but the honesty on the multi-layered life, which means biology. Biology is and needs to be understood. If you have a long day and you have, let's say, skipped a meal, and you have very little incoming energy, like in terms of the bioenergy, like potential energy that you're eating and drinking, of course, naturally, you have some biological signals saying, well, actually, give us some more. Our working cells actually need some more. And in those moments, of course, what people usually tend to look at, chocolate, ice cream, cookies, it's a very high carbohydrate, energetic potential energy. That's one, and that's necessary for our brains. The brains are not only brains, but everything. And the second is also when we, for example, do sports, what increases breathing. So we actually need more oxygen. So this is the understanding on the biological level. There are two components that our brains actually require on every single change that we are making. So for the cells to regenerate, for the blood to flow, for the lungs to do their job. When the same goes with the brains, and the brains, if the brains remember your habits before, now you say, well, I will change this habit here. That means neurons have to unwire and rewire differently, and that's a job. And for that job to perform, there is required extra energy in terms of oxygen and sugar. And what is the problem? Where's the resistance on this biological level is that, imagine this is a kind of board of directors. And board of directors are represented by the heart, lungs, muscles, bones, joints, brain, ears, eyes, nose, mouth, everything. And then the brain comes up and says, well, I just received an order from the conscious part of the brain, and our user says, we need to rewire this neural network over here. And for that, we need this amount of sugar and energy allocated to this task to be done. And then the other board members say, well, muscles say, well, we also need to walk to this fridge and therefore to here and there. And lungs say, well, but we actually need to work nonstop, like 24/7. And this is what the resistance means at the biological level. When the people understand that, then they realize, well, actually, it's not only my conscious thinking here, it's everything, the responsibility and listening to everything, how it works. So this is, to sum up the individual level, this is the honesty. You honestly listen to what everything in your body says, not only what you kind of circulate as your thoughts in your mind.
So you're talking about your embodied cognition, like the gut being the second brain, that you actually have other pieces of you beyond your conscious comprehension of I'm doing this because this is good. You actually your will has a vote amongst a board members of your internal body, and depending on how strong that vote is, some people have majority shareholder control, and those like David Gawkins can go and do whatever and just will it. And other people, they have one vote and there's 1,000 other things inside of them, and so you don't have. So then how do you recruit more voters for you? How do you create that? How do you create enough of that to where you're getting to what the biological truth that willpower is just one piece of the total sum? Is there a way to shift that to actually increase that to get a bigger vote, or what does that look like?
Yeah, you negotiate. Exactly. This is how it works. You eat something like fast food, which is not very rich in nutrients and not very kind of fitting with the natural biology for the consumption. And your body says, well, this was a crap. Please don't come back with this anymore. And then you do something else, and then it says, well, let's celebrate. This was really good choice. Even the stretching, like you pump the blood, and it actually says, well, or you drink water, and then you actually body says, yeah, that was a good idea. And this is how you negotiate, and you test where the body feels good on the multiple layers, and then your negotiation continues until you get another vote for you. And this is how it works. You just you get your coalition bigger, and then you start with the one thing, and then you get it stronger. And once you have negotiated, then you're on good terms with everybody.
I love that. And so one last question about this. I'm going to shift it up to the community inside, talking about the community without, but going first in the community on the inside, is there a way that you kick off these new types of transformations? We've talked about the vector mapping. I know you have a transformational design framework. How do you kick off a project with someone? Do you pull them off to the side and say, okay, tick these buckets, here's what you need to do, give me a bunch of money and I'll give you a little bit of money back every time you do a thing? Like how do you kick off one of these transformational pathways?
So money is usually a disaster for transformation.
Sure. I recently saw a part of some diet thing I was looking at. I was like, oh, that's interesting, but okay, yeah, please. Why is it a disaster?
It's just like with everything. It's a distortion of reality. And I know this whole show is about reality, and that's why I'm so much liking it. It's that if we realize that if we are given anything as I usually use it as a reward or a carrot for any task, we are not doing the task for the purpose of the task. We are doing the task for the carrot, for getting the carrot. Of course, that's kind of integrated into the fabric of society to some degree. And we have conventionally thinking, okay, this is how it works. But it over time has been distorting more and more the people perceiving, well, even the surveys. You receive a survey and they say, we will pay you or we'll give you this gift card at the Starbucks, like at $10, for example, whatever that amount is. And then you are doing the survey not for the sake of the survey, and the quality of responses go down because all the things are around getting this reward. So therefore, even attaching any financial, and especially financial instrument as a motivation to the journey is putting the people in what I call transitional change, or even the transactional change. So transaction means you exchange. You go to the shop, you give a few dollars, and you get some oranges. That's a transaction, and you're off from the shop. And the same happens if somebody is promised, okay, if you will decrease your weight to like a 20 pounds, you will get this trip to Hawaii, whatever that is. And then you are thinking about the trip to Hawaii. And then your mission on putting yourself on a green vector becomes secondary. And therefore you get your way down here to the like minus 20 pounds, and you know this is over. And then science says that people revert back to where they were, and even it backfires even more. So therefore, this is a typology of change. So I'm showing like three types of change. So the transaction, which is the one-time change, transition period of time. So you set some goal, whether that's measurable in terms of the pounds or in terms of the month or 2 months or a year. And the psychological, I call it psychological jail. You put yourself like, say, stay away from sugar for 1 month. What you know, after a month, you're releasing yourself from your self-created psychological jail. So therefore, the third is a transformation. So transaction, one time, transition period of time, and transformation means you remove the endpoint, the deadline, the goal itself, and you keep a direction. You say, I'm going to be active. Like I'm going to be a person who is active. And then after, based on this internal agreement, you say, well, because I'm going to be more active, what I can do, I can buy a gym membership, for example. So the gym membership comes after that, after you have gotten the basic agreement, like a master agreement with yourself. But what happens in the daily life, it's opposite. People say, well, oh, I should just get some gym membership and that's how I will become more active. No, it doesn't work like this. Because the gym membership has the end date. And it doesn't guarantee you're going to extend it, and it doesn't guarantee you're going to go to the gym.
So you're talking about there's lack of term is a mastery path from getting started with just a transactional change to a transitionary time, which is a period of your life versus the way of your life, the way of life. What is the threshold guardian? What is the unspoken guardian between transitional and transformational way of life? What is that barrier that people face that they come across?
Yes, that's exactly here.
Yep.
The borderline.
Yeah.
It will sound very trivial, but that's very true. So please, people, bear with it. As soon as you set something conventionally measurable, like as I said, you say a date in a calendar. So I'm going to do it until then. Or that's measurable in pounds. I say I'm going to do it until that amount of pounds. Or I'm going to decrease it until I stick with 2 cigarettes per day or per month. As long as it's going to have a measurable, tangible thing at which you can achieve, like practically, as long as that will be there, you will psychologically be fooling yourself. So you will make the goal and achievement, which belongs to the transitional, which is a period of time, you will make that those characteristics to fool you into delusion that you are getting where you want to get. But in reality is not where you want to get. You want to upgrade your identity. You want to become a person who actually doesn't need the scale, who actually doesn't need to think about the cigarettes, who actually doesn't need to think about which mode of transformation to choose or whether to stretch it or not in the morning. So, and that's how internally it's completely different type of game. One mindset is goal setting and achievement mindset. And that all belongs to transition, unfortunately. All of the theories, all of the practices, all of the even scientific studies, they all have this limitation. They put some frame on it. And as long as there is a frame, people will be complying to the frame. And the underlying subconscious expectation is, when this will be over, I will be free. And this is what is playing in our subconscious mind. And whenever we have that design of our transformation of our lives or the transformation in organizations, as long as that will be the basic descriptive design. Unfortunately, none of the transformations will. There is a chance that some of these efforts will succeed, but by definition, the chances and likelihood is quite low. So removing, so that last thing that people have to understand, this is the one. So removing tangible thing or measurable thing, in a sense. You can be still on the green vector and continuously measure your progress and celebrate it. But you redirect your attention from the goal to the direction. So if you have a goal, which is kind of achievable, you are in a transition. If you have a direction where you want to go, you have a transformational mindset.
Is it necessary to, is this a path that you go on? Is it necessary to go from transactional to transitional to transformational, or can you go directly to transformational? Is that the natural path, or can you just bypass it?
You can see it as a scale. So the smallest item on the green vector, so if you come back to the vector, the smallest thing is a one-time decision, which is transaction. Today, I'm not opening the fridge. Next day, I'm not opening the fridge. So you're building the small transactions, which over time is building the transition. So you did comply with not opening the fridge after 6 p.m. over the 1 month. And if you say, well, this was one month and I committed to it, that would be, again, example of transition. But if you don't have this mindset of, okay, I'm going to set a deadline for doing this, then you just remove the deadline completely. I'm just a person who is not eating after 6 p.m. And then it's not about the fridge. It's not about the restaurant. It's not about the celebration. It's not about the wedding. It's not about anything. It's about you. And when you realize that, then you seek internal power, which you have. I call it transformation gene. So we have the genes. Genes have seen us evolving. They know how to change. They know how to transform. It's just that epigenetics say we sometimes silence habitually or by the circumstances, we silence some genes. And I think people have silenced the transformation gene. So when they realize that removing the goal orientation requires you to ask yourself, how do I upgrade my identity? This is when you activate your transformation gene. You realize, oh, I can become the person who is actually just careless about the scale. I said that recently. People really have gotten from the transition into the transformation. For example, in the weight control. So if you weight management issues, you're solving those. You really have mastered to get away from the transition into transformation when the scale disappears from your object of interest and the measurement becomes irrelevant. That's when you have gotten into the transformation. So the scale as an instrument was helping you to get over to transactions, which means you step on a scale, that is a transaction. Next time you step on the scale, transaction. And then you measure over time and you see the progress, like a transition. Oh, I lost 10 pounds over January, 10 pounds over February. And then you realize you don't need the scale anymore. You know how the transformation works and you feel it, how it works internally, and you just keep on doing it. And the scale is just, yes, dusted.
The achievement means less because it's an intrinsic value that's more of a way of life. And you're talking about like nature versus nurture. And it's really a balance of both that really, with epigenetics, depending on the nature, it can affect you and can change your way of life. And then you become that way of life without the actual nature's effect. And so that's kind of, from what I'm understanding, is the epigenetics of the situations by turning on genes, by having environmental pressures, until finally you become just that person, whatever, a fast runner because you're training in the high Alps or insert place. How would you, one thing I recently talked to some people on podcasts, and I would love to get your thoughts around this, because this is a bigger topic, is climate change and shifting habits and patterns. I know that with humans at a global scale, it's very hard to feel like you're affecting change. How would you, what would you thoughts be on an individual and on like on a societal level? How would you create a transformational change for climate change?
There is a good
small question.
There is a very practical way of doing it. So actually, you asked me before about the methodology. I didn't show it like earlier,
but
thank you.
Let's
say, yes, here it is, the 8-step process. And that's a combination of the scientists and my work from MIT and also from the Stanford University. And it's a collection. I do it for companies, for organizations, for societies. And there is a tool number 4 in that framework. The framework is called, actually the whole method is Stibe method, and then there is a framework which is called Transformation Design Framework. And that framework contains tool number 4, and there are 3 circles. So for those who are listening, then there is a green circle, the people who change whenever they want, and then are red people who are self-contained and say, I'm not gonna do it, it's not in my interest. And then January 1st, so the New Year's resolution kind of people in the middle, they kind of want to change but not successful. And the social influence is the answer. Instead of carrots and sticks, which means the motivators which have the limited power over your transformation, because you will be motivated only as long as they are present. And everybody knows that. Even the marketing and the business people know that, but they still use it because they want a short-term gain. But short-term gain never will lead you to the long-term transformation. But the social influence explains that once you have the 3 groups of people, and also on a global scale, you have people actively caring about the environment, caring about their own health, caring about the health of the planet, about everything. And they make different decisions. They make a different decision. The green people make a different decisions than the red people. And red people say, I don't care about the planet. Don't bother me with these questions. I will never do this. And yellow people are our target group, because yellow people say, yes, climate is important. Yes, I am very concerned about how we live on this planet. But on a daily basis, they make still the old decisions or old choices, which are similar to red people. But there is this difference. Red people say, no, I'm consciously against it. I don't care. I want a big car. That's it. Big motor. That's it. But yellow people is actually the group of people. I think that's the biggest on the planet. They would say, yeah, I care, but they have the difficulty to actually comply with their behavior according to what they say. Therefore, exposing the green people, the circle that are already doing it on a daily basis with their activities, with their choices, with their behaviors, with their decisions, make them make our cities transparent, make our environments transparent. We can use it through the mobile apps. We can use it through the transforming cities ideas, which I had about the screens and lights changing the color depending what the people like consume less electricity or water, stuff like that. We are having very profound way to change our own attitudes and behaviors based on others. We don't need carrots. We don't need sticks. We need belonging. We need acceptance. That's how we, Homo sapiens, evolved. That's evolutionary. We genetically react to other people. And if we see other people through technologies today, how other people are achieving better decisions towards a better planet, that's enough. We would be and that's why there's colors. So when I show the circles, the green color is overlapping with the yellow. So actually, that means the social pull from the green people, because they are now visible. The closest yellow people, like, oh, I didn't know how many people in my residential building is actually doing this kind of a good thing. Like they have this nice food in their fridge, or they're having this electricity saving light bulbs, all that kind of stuff. And technology can serve this very easily. Social influence is underutilized magic of today, and especially in a technology age. We speak about things conventionally, and that's again human psychology. We just use our 5 senses, and maybe some people say, okay, we have the 6th sense as well, and we can develop more senses by complementing our experience with technologies like virtual reality or augmented reality. That's fine. We can use all of this. But what is the essential component in this design? Not only the primary task of getting these experiences, but through those experiences, we unobtrusively, subtly integrate similar other people and what they do and what decisions they make. And if you see, oh, there are so many other people actually making these decisions that I was willing to do for the last 3 years, then naturally you could, oh, I'm not alone. I'm together with these people and I'm belonging to this group. I want to belong to this group. And this is how what shifts. And it's very transformative, because once the person changes the mind from yellow to green, your green circle gets bigger. And this is how you get more and more transformative like power to be used for the transformation on any scale. On any scale.
Sure. Got it. So you're saying that I mean, it seems like it's either carrots or sticks on both sides, right? You have internal carrots and sticks. You have external carrots and sticks. Internal carrot. Well, maybe I said that wrong, but if you look at for example, money is a carrot and a stick. Give money, take money, that kind of thing. Social influence, how other people judge me. It's a carrot or a stick. People, I want the recognition, but I don't want the judgment, right? Which causes a lot of people and that want to let their internal light shine shut down. But you can also use that as a positive, use that as a force for good by saying, what's the group that has the identity that you want to achieve? Right, then going over to that group and then getting as close to them as possible to where you start to become a part of that group. And just by natural belonging, by natural acceptance, by natural you're cognitively outsourcing this desire for transformative change, because you want to be a pro bodybuilder. So you hang out at the muscle beaches and you go to the places and you see them eat protein bars. So you eat protein bars and you're modeling and you're mimicking and you're doing everything you can. And then all of a sudden you get that identity. Then you get a little bit bigger. Then someone looks to you and goes, "Oh, you're a pro bodybuilder." And then that cycle continues. So you're outsourcing it by using it's still a carrot and a stick, but it's more of a natural carrot and stick that like we've evolved over millennia to have the social influence, versus monetary, which is a very selfish carrot and stick that's more intrinsic. So did I get that right, or am I missing a piece of that?
No. You actually put it very extremely precise. I'm trying to avoid calling those social carrot and social stick, but I see the kind of quality of conversation we're getting here. Yes. Mm-hmm. So we could easily call the social influence, and again, as you said, judgment or the praise would be the examples of social carrot and social stick. So therefore, yes, this is how it works. But the difference is, while we look at our genetics and biology and evolution, social influence is genes, our survival mechanisms, our ways how we expect us to be, and it's integrated. And it's mainly guided by the instinctive, impulsive, reactive, fast part of our brains that we share with many other animals, which is the survival part of the brain. So those who have read Daniel Kahneman, Thinking Fast and Slow, that's the fast brain. So that has 300 million years. And the younger brother, the blue part, the intelligence, logical, analytical, and slow, it's only 5 million years. So therefore, also we can understand that if we build our interactions with the world and we harness the social integrated motivation from other people, it pierces through the logical and directly hits into the instinctive one. That's why it's so much more powerful. Because with the logical, we always kind of value whether the penalty of $5 is worth worrying, or maybe $200 penalty is more. So we are using the logical part of the brain to make sense. But when we see people running out of the supermarket, we don't make any kind of, we start to run. And then as we start running, we kind of start to observe and then the kicks in the logical part. Okay, and why I'm running together with these other people?
It's a deeper sense of, you're looking like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? There's the survival, fight and flight, which is the reptilian part of the brain, going up to social acceptance, which is going to the mammalian brain, all the way up to self-actualization and all that. So it sinks deeper and quicker of run, fire or snake or something. So that makes a lot of sense. And what I'm looking for is, what about you in terms of the progress that you've been on, going on this own journey for you? How do you armor up for the day? How do you stay refreshed? How do you make sure that you are like you realign with all of these different pieces so that you can keep to those transformational standards that you set for yourself. What is that? What do your daily habits look like?
Metal detector.
No.
Metal detector principle is sometimes forgotten also in my daily routine. Yes, we have what we have. We have the brain. They come inherently like with some defect in so many ways. Like, there are these optical illusions. The books, like you look at, oh, it looks like this. And the scientists, how the scientists refer to these books? They suggest to rename these books instead of optical illusion. Do you know how the scientists are suggesting to call these books so that they will be representing the reality more accurately?
No.
They suggest brain failures.
Brain failure.
Because our brains are receiving signals. And again, reminder, let's be honest, our brains are kept in a dark, silent chamber. And the only brains can do is receive some signals from here and there and try to make sense of it. And this is what the reality is. And if our brain cannot process the image that is kind of made to create an illusion, it's a brain failure. But what I do with in my master classes, I take people to a brain gym. So they exercise this brain flexibility and get more clearer reality. So my routine, how I get my transformations, my own transformations, and the explorations around how to make the transformation understood clearer, how to make the type of change understood clearer, and then made it applicable for the individuals, for the organizations, for societies, is this one simple realization. It's like, I can do it. Like, if I can change this, I can change anything I want. And anytime I kind of also have this natural way of, maybe just enjoying what I've achieved and maybe just stay with this. I don't know, something in me, some curiosity, some, I don't know, the awareness that this journey of knowledge creation and the knowledge application, it's infinite. And we know that sometimes we illustrate the knowledge circle. It's a circle on the paper or the sphere. And the more we know, the more we know that we don't know. And the same happens we don't know how the intelligence emerges in our brains. So this is why the artificial intelligence has a long way. Of course, currently the companies are trying to build the chips and building the chips and directly connecting to the brain-computer interface, getting faster. I'm so excited because this is how we faster will learn about the emergence of our human intelligence, and then only we will be able to speak about the artificial intelligence. So yes, for me, it's on the one hand, it's kind of natural for me, the curiosity of helping myself to enjoy life better. Because if I'm mastering change, I'm the master of life, because life is constant changes. Everything is a change, bigger changes, smaller changes. I'm surprised sometimes when people don't have this awareness that if you understand that everything is a change and you become better with mastering changes, you become better with everything, because everything comes, you just master it. And that next thing comes, you master it. You master yourself, you master others, and just keep on doing it. So this is, I think, what really fuels my passion just to continue, because I enjoy, first of all, I enjoy the results, and then I enjoy seeing other people getting happier and smiling and saying, oh, this is how it works. Oh.
Is that your holy grail, mastering your change to master your life? Or what is your holy grail from all of these studies?
That's pretty much is. I was making steps towards it. It didn't arrive me. It didn't fall on my head one day. It was like a very kind of intuitive curiosity bringing me closer, bringing me on this journey. And I wasn't anyway kind of fooling myself to get away from this. I was just letting myself go a certain directions that felt to me in more alignment with me. So I was just like, okay. So yes, maybe the one sentence that people would really need to kind of take as a quote and maybe put somewhere, everything is a change. And becoming the master of change is how you pretty much master your life or anything you want.
Love that. And Is there right now, do you have a dragon that you still need to slay? What's the thing preventing you from your holy grail, if there is one?
I think what I just told about getting more understanding of our own intelligence is the place or the process or the challenge that if we get that part clearer sooner or faster, then we have more progression towards improving everybody's experiences. And why I'm saying this whenever I speak about artificial intelligence, is that it's not the problem about technology. I have 2 master degrees, so computer science and MBA, so I kind of understand both. I can translate, and I feel very comfortable with this. So in the technology world, for any really advanced engineers, what they need requirements for software, requirements for technology. Okay, what it's supposed to do. And the problem with the other world, or let's say the non-engineering world, is to give a proper instructions. Okay, what do we expect it to do for us? And if people haven't gotten the understanding how the change works, or the transformation works in the multi-layers, so biological, psychological, physiological, societal, global, if we don't understand how it works, we cannot tell technology guys, the engineers, what to do. And that's why we cannot tell even the proper instructions for the artificial intelligence. And technology has pretty much, in my observation, has 2 roles. So number one, it's an amplifier, and it's going to amplify what we told it to do. So if we give poor instructions, it will amplify poor instructions, will get poor results. If we get good instructions, then it will amplify and be much more successful, all of us. That's step one. The second one is technology turns out to be the biggest mirror of our human nature. We can see ourselves the clearest. The more technological progress we make, the clearer we see ourselves. All the dark patterns, all the ethical dilemmas, or the psychological decisions that are not possibly in favor of everybody, everything we see through the designs of the platform, to the designs of how businesses use technology. Technology is the greatest mirror where we can see our human nature with the black and white intertwined.
Yeah. It makes a ton of sense. They often say that technology is a race between utopia and disaster. And if you look at mankind, that is the battles that we fight, and our own internal struggles, and it's only mirrored outwards. So that makes a ton of sense. You've been super gracious with your time, internet technology hurdles and all. Is there anything last that you'd like to let people know about before you tell people how to get a hold of you?
The honest realization, like what gift everyone has gotten, which means this intelligence on the cellular level, like the biology that is helping you to wake up every morning, and you don't even need to think about it. And then you have the luxury of this conscious mind to then choose what you will make your body to do, how you will feed it, what you will make it to walk here and there or do certain things. That's luxury every morning that you wake up. It's the greatest gift that people have. The next is, if people don't know what to do with all this luxury, that's the first trouble. And so the greatest reminder for everybody, I would like to pay people's attention. What are the thoughts that you have first in the morning in your mind? And if there is no clarity, if there is no, let's say, some positive directional thinking, you pretty much, you can think about yourself whichever way you want. But if you don't have this kind of I think very basic thing, I'm still doing it myself. It doesn't come easy. Again, just to not kind of make the creation, the illusion, okay, these are the smart people, they have mastered and they should be there. No, we have everything the same. But what I'm trying to do it for myself and for the others. So the one takeaway really, really that is extremely transformational Because if you wake up in every morning and you have the routine,
Mm-hmm.
and if you place the first thing when your conscious mind connects to your body, the first question is, okay, what I'm going to do with this luxury today?
Mm-hmm.
And
So
you have choices.
that's beautiful. So we've been given a gift, the luxury of choice in the morning. We just are unconscious to that. And the best thing that people can do is to be conscious of that and give themselves a greater choice and understand that it's a gift and a luxury that we should respect and honor and use to the greatest advantage that we see. And that's beautiful. And if people wanted to get a hold of you or find out more about what you do, besides that upcoming book you've got going on, how do people get a hold of you or find out more about what you do?
So as you see, I'm quite technology savvy. So I put my my website right there. So it's my name, surname, agnisstibe.com. So that's the gateway to transformation. So there are talks, there are scientific literature. You can submit your own problem there. You can actually download the framework that I showed. So the basic introduction is there for everyone. I really believe it's not about not sharing the knowledge. Knowledge should be shared. And then people, when they realize, okay, this is something valuable, then they need some help how to apply here and there. And then the YouTube channel comes in very handy. So I also have a YouTube channel. So there are videos where I explain some of these concepts, how they are applied in different, to solve different problems or to help people actually to be happier. Because if the problems are solved, what people do, they smile and clap and celebrate. And I think transformation is, I think, the most effective tool to get your happiness and fulfillment.
100%. No, I think it's beautiful. Well, Professor, it has been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I look forward to seeing you online. Have a beautiful day, okay?
Yes. All right.
Thank you so much. Take care now.
All right.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heroes of Reality podcast. Check out heroesofreality.com for more episodes. While you're there, you can also take the Heroes quiz to find out what kind of hero you are. Or, if you have a great story and want to be on the podcast, tell us why your hero's journey will inspire others. Thank you for listening. See you